going to take it home. Here's another guy, though, that Lyons mentioned could beat him tonight. That is Ken Lamont in the Plano Toolbox Midnight Express. There you see Jim. He's fine-tuning his stitches machine just in case there is going to be a pull-off.
I believe that Jim Lyons in his heart feels this kid is going to make a full pull. He's working feverishly on his truck. Meanwhile, Lamont, a scant 150 feet away from him, getting ready to make his pull. The fans getting in it. They're telling him which way to go. The Plano Toolbox Midnight Express out of Crossville, Illinois, going after Jim Lyons right now, trying to put us in a pull-off. And look at the weight transfer. Beautiful.
And he has done it. Ken Lamont, the Plano Toolbox Midnight Express, our second full pull of the night. Let's go trackside with Army and Ken Lamont.
Well, Ken, we just received word it was a full pull. You are going to be in a pull-off with Jim Lyons. I know you're anxious to get over and get the vehicle ready. What are you going to be doing different in that pull-off?
Well, I'll probably drive it about like I did. I slowed it down on my driving style from last night some. Seemed to make a pretty good pull. I was pretty well pleased with it.
I'll tell you what, the people in Atlanta, Georgia got to be impressed with you and the Plano Toolbox Special. You guys are right in the middle of this thing. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Army. I really appreciate it.
Ken Lamont has made it to a pull-off with Jim Lyons. Kenny is a successful farmer. He's got a small trucking operation in Crossville, Illinois. And here's another guy pretty successful out here on the circuit. Last night, Army, he was in that threesome of a pull-off, talking about Mark Hare and the Jack Daniels machine.
You know, Mark Hare has been in the sport for quite a while, but he ran under the name of Spike. You were talking about Lamont a moment ago. He's landed a couple of major sponsors this year. Of course, Jack Daniels has come on board to support the old number 7 Hare combination. Hey, the big boys are getting into sport. Look at this. The Dodge-powered vehicle, not the run that he wanted. A tough break, only a 168, Richard.
Well, last night, Mark Hare was in a pull-off. Tonight, all he's going to do is pull it up, put it on the trailer, go home. Meanwhile, those gentlemen, Ken Lamont and Jim Lyons, are wondering, are we going to be in the pull-off against each other, or will it be a threesome? Right around the commercial break, we've got one heck of a driver. A guy by the name of John Heilman will be coming on the track as we find out, will it be 3 in a pull-off? Back with more on Power Tracks in a moment. Atlanta, Georgia, super modified two-wheel drive competition. Army, here's our final competitor, John Heilman, Rockford, Ohio, in an 87 Thunderbird. He's got to get a full pull to join these two in a pull-off. Ken Lamont and Jim Lyons.
Lamont representing Chevrolet, Lyons representing GMC, the Ford camp, the beautiful Ford Thunderbird. Heilman starts his roll. Let's see if it's going to be a three-way pull-off. Everybody's watching it. Looks like he may have missed the weight, Richard. He did. No ground speed. He's not going to make it. We're only going to have 2 back for the pull-off.
John Heilman, 156+ feet. That means he's through for the night, and we're going to bring out 2 vehicles. Jim Lyons, Stitches, 3-time national champion, and Ken Lamont, the Plano Toolbox Midnight Express. First up, Jim Lyons, as they add weight to the sled. They always do that on a pull-off, don't they?
They bump the weight up on the sled. Lyons is already at the sled. He's ready to go. Lamont goes down. He's trying to get things squared away. The pressure's on. This is it. This is the last shot for Lyons. You win it now or you lose it now. Ground speed looks good. The black GMC making horsepower. Wheels up. Works the left side of the track. They'll set the distance of 176. Now, the pressure all goes on Lamont.
And it's Ken Lamont in the Plano Toolbox Midnight Express. And you will probably never see a full pull and a pull-off, will you, Army?
No, I tell you, Richard, Ron Hickson has the sled figured out. After he's run about 12 of these vehicles through, he knows what weight it's going to take to stop them. The old sled operator, the old Sly Fox, he's going to get you.
All right, keep your eye on the distance of 176.09 feet. That's what Ken Lamont has got to beat. The ground speed looks good, Army.
Chevrolet going after GMC, trying to put it on the other side of a 176. Richard, the Midnight Express wins it, 177.33.
Ken Lamont has won it in the Omni, Atlanta, Georgia. I know he's going to be one happy son of a gun as we're going to go trackside. Army has got the winner right now.
Congratulations, Ken Lamont, on a super run.
Well, thanks, Army. I appreciate it. Since we picked up all these sponsors, it's just going great. The Plano truck's just been running super. I had a heck of a run that time. You don't beat Jim Lyons when he makes a good run without making a super run yourself. Jim is a super competitor.
We're standing down on the end of the track with Jim when you made the run. He told me, he said, the kid can put me away. He says he's learning a whole lot and he's coming after me in a hurry. When you won, you know, he knew that you'd beat him, but he kind of had a smile on his face. Could you be the new generation coming up in this sport?
Boy, I don't know. I tell you what, new generation's tough, but what most people don't know is one of the first motors that was ever in this truck, Jim Lyons built for me. So Jim and I are old friends. When you're out there on a track, it's competition all the way, but he's a good friend of mine, and he's a super competitor.
Well, congratulations. We look forward to working with you the rest of the winter.
I appreciate it, Army. Thank you.
Ken Lamont, a class kid, has won it tonight as we look at our top 5. In 5th tonight, Mike Stowe. 4th place went to Wayne Roush. 3rd, Lige McLean. 2nd to Jim Lyons as he loses it in a pull-off to Ken Lamont. On behalf of Army Armstrong, I'm Richard Leek saying we'll see you again on the tracks across America.
Join us next time for Power Tracks, the most powerful sport on earth. Brought to you by TNT Motorsports, the nation's leader in pulling and monster truck racing. Power Tracks presents the most powerful sport on earth, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Power Tracks is brought to you by the heartbeat of America, today's Chevy truck.
Hello, everybody. I'm Richard Leek, along with Army Armstrong. We are once again in Garrett Coliseum, Montgomery, Alabama, where tonight the greatest monster truck drivers in America have another tough track to tame.
The track tonight's going to be real short, Richard, but they're going to start off immediately going right up over a 4-car jump. They have about 40 feet to get squared away for the finale, the final jump, the 10-car jump with about 50 feet to stop at the end of the track. It's going to be quick.
It's going to be extra quick because they ran last night. We've got crunch cars for them to go over. That should increase ground speed.
Richard, in all honesty, I am looking tonight at Garrett Coliseum for 5.5 and 6-second runs from these huge monster trucks.
And another story we've got to keep our eye on. Steve Dane, the driver of Awesome Kong, he is going for his 4th win in a row. We're going to find out if he can do it when we come back on ESPN. Welcome back to Power Tracks, everybody. When we headed to Montgomery, Alabama this weekend for this 2-day event, one of the favorite trucks going into the event was Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson out of Virginia. Last night, Dennis broke in qualifying. He is ready tonight, though. That's because he was up all night working on the vehicle. Here's Army and Dennis.
Well, it looked like in last night's qualifying round, Dennis, you did a tremendous amount of damage. You're going to be able to get back in action this evening?
Yeah, we've got it all back together now, and, you know, we tore it down last night. We worked till 3 o'clock this morning, and I got up rounding up machine shops and parts this morning. We had to replace all the intake valves and some guides and springs, but we're just now getting it back together, so we're going to make it tonight.
Well, bad news for all of our Gravedigger fans. Dennis Anderson did come out to qualify. This is some tape from earlier this evening, but Army, once again, bad luck has followed Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger.
You know, all year long, like a little black cloud's been floating over one of the most popular trucks on the tour. What caught him this evening? During qualifying against John Moore, made a beautiful run. The truck is making horsepower, but he blew a tire out right on the end, not able to get the tire back together. A flat tire is going to cost him.
So Dennis Anderson out of the competition here in Montgomery. I know his wife, Julie, and son, Adam. Adam was a little 3-year-old. He loves to watch his daddy run this monster truck. But, you know, Army, Dennis isn't the only one with bad luck, as we once again look at some taped highlights. This is Jim Kramer, Bigfoot. He goes out of the competition in qualifying.
He drew Stomper in a qualifying round, and halfway through, lifted an engine, completely destroyed the top half of the engine. The supercharger came off of the vehicle. They don't know exactly what caused that. It's kind of a freak incident. We were down at Trackside when it happened. The safety crew was right on the scene. The crew member came over and actually picked up part of the supercharger to show us what had let go on it.
Now, is this an unusual occurrence on this circuit?
The Ford engine runs a longer snout on the supercharger, the front of the blower that the belt sits over. You can see the crew member holding it there. What happened? The engine coughed. When it coughed, that belt kept turning and pulled the front of the supercharger right off, Richard.
All right, so we are left with 11 competitors here in Montgomery, Alabama tonight for this Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge circuit. And running down the qualifying, it is going to be USA 1 with a bye run. Rod Litzow, your current national champion, was the fastest qualifier tonight. We'll follow that with Marvin Smith, Stomper 2 out of Missouri, taking on Chandler Lloyd in overtime from South Carolina. Then we've got Steve Kane, King Kong out of Killeen, Texas, Nick Rossi, and Jersey Outlaw from Pennsauken, New Jersey. Dave Wysorik and Nightlife out of Nebraska takes on John Breen and Mad Dog from Missouri. Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher from North Carolina against John Moore's No Problem out of Tennessee. Then it's Bob Brain and Wild here, also from Missouri, against Steve Dane, Awesome Kong out of Texas, and we are ready to go. That's the way they're going to line up. First out, though, is what can you say about this kid? He came on strong halfway through the season, won the national title. He's got a bye run here, Army. Rod Litzow.
Litzow's teamed up with Everett Jasmer. They've gone along with True Value Hardware Store. The Glasworth Paint people won the prettiest trucks and a national championship for Chevrolet. Really got people excited about this sport now, Richard.
We are ready now to get our actual side-by-side racing underway, and it's going to be a dandy. This overtime vehicle with Chandler Lloyd out of South Carolina, he is relatively new on the circuit, but he's put together a whale of a monster truck.
Chandler's kind of an interesting individual. We talked to him in an earlier show, and he explained his involvement with GMC is because when he was having some financial problems in his business, GMC backed him, so he's going to back them 100% by running one of their trucks on the tour. We're glad to have him with us, but who does he draw? Starvin' Marvin Smith comes out of the Show Me State of Missouri. GMC will be working the left side of the track, Chevrolet on the right side, Richard.
And, of course, the Chevrolet machine is a stomper machine. They're off and rolling.
Stomper, a good leave on that start line. Marvin Smith looking exceptionally strong this evening. He'll advance into the next round.
Nice run for Starvin' Marvin Smith. And it's kind of funny. I was with Starvin earlier in the pits, and he's got him a new hat he wears that says Starvin' Marvin across the front of it, so that nickname you gave him, Army, has caught on. And here's a guy that was a little bit hesitant about coming to Montgomery. He comes from New Jersey, and he said, well, here's a Yankee boy coming down south. I'm going to fly me some Confederate flags and the Alabama flag on the back of my Jersey Outlaw machine. Maybe that'll get me some fans, and it did. And he's taking on Steve Kane out of Texas and King Kong.
I don't know how the stars and bars are going to help this fella from the north. Believe me, he drew a bad dog in this sucker. He's going up against that Texas-based Ford. Awesome Kong. Let's see what's going to happen.
No, that's the King Kong machine.
Okay, I stand corrected.
They're brother trucks, though.
Brother, right, based out of the Jeff Dane operation. Let's see what the New Jersey Ford can do. Texas, look at that Texas. Go after him. He'll advance. New Jersey will go on the trailer, Richard.
Steve Kane wins it in King Kong over Nick Rossi and the Jersey Outlaw. But Nick, as we get on into the circuit, it'll be a force to be reckoned with.
That's something that the four people are really going to be able to watch.
And we're going to watch more great action from Montgomery, Alabama when we come back on Power Tracks. Montgomery, Alabama, where we continue first-round competition on this Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge circuit. Coming out next is one of the Breen brothers, John Breen, out of Missouri, and the Mad Dog machine. This is a good one, Army.
He'll be going up against a nightlife truck. Bream, he's kind of one of the foxes on the tour. I tell you what John Bream is trying to do. He's trying to wrap up 88 with a two-truck team, doing a lot of research and development. He's looking for a Super 89. That's next year. Right now, he's got to get past this kid. I don't know if he can do it or not.
Dave White-Thorick out of Nebraska, relatively new on the circuit. We spent some time earlier today with Dave and asked him about the name of his truck.
Names are kind of an important part of this sport. You've got Bigfoot out there. He developed the first big tire truck. That's where the name Bigfoot came from. Stomper came onto the tour with the first truck to really jump and to stomp on the cars. You come out with a truck by the name of Nightlife. What's the story behind the name?
Well, we was trying to figure out a name for the truck, and we were all sitting there, and a neighbor had come over, and he said, well, what are you guys doing? Well, we're trying to